Hi there, John McAdams here with you again. Thanks a lot for joining me in this video. I have a special treat for you here today where I share the results of a ballistic gel test with the trusty old 3030 firing Hornady LEVERevolution ammo with their 160 grain FTX bullet. Now the FTX is a heavy, soft lead core projectile. As you can see, Hornady manufactures that bullet with a red polymer tip as well. That makes the bullet a little bit more aerodynamic than the flat-nosed or round-nosed projectiles traditionally used by the 3030. But this stuff is still safe to use in a lever-action rifle with a tubular magazine. Speaking of rifles with a tubular magazine, I'm going to shoot this test using a Winchester Model 94 rifle with a 22-inch barrel. Now, due to the nature of the 3030 Winchester, most people are using this cartridge for hunting game at shorter ranges. Stuff 150, 200 yards is just not that common with the 3030. So for that reason, I'm going to shoot this ammo into some gel blocks 50 yards away. And by the way, I will measure my velocities with my Garmin chronograph. So let's get shooting and see how this ammo performs in ballistic gel. Okay, so let's take a look at this stuff up close now. Advertised velocity of this ammo, 2,400 feet per second. I shot it out of a rifle with a 22-inch barrel instead of 24 like Hornady advertises. Measured the velocity of this shot at 2371. So a little slower than advertised, but not bad at all, especially when you consider that it was in a rifle barrel 2 inches shorter than what Hornady specifies that velocity with. So let's see how it did in the gel. Short neck. Then we see the bullet expands and we get our temporary wound cavity here, maximum diameter right around the 6-inch mark. The temporary wound cavity drops off in size, but continues until about the 15-inch mark. So all in all, we have a pretty wide temporary wound cavity that's also pretty long. Bullet penetrates into the second gel block, comes to rest there right around the 22 and a half, 22 and 3/4 inch mark in the second gel block. So pretty good penetration as well. Combine that with a substantial temporary wound cavity, like I said, that's both wide and long. All in all, pretty darn good performance here. I'll pull that bullet out, measure it, weigh it, get you some more details. Okay, so I pulled that bullet out of the gel block and, just like I suspected, it looks really good. First off, original bullet weight, 160 grains. I put this one on the scale after I pulled it out of the gel. Now it weighs 146.6 grains. So it lost a little bit of mass, but that's still over 91% weight retention. Next, original bullet diameter was 0.308 inches. This one now measures 0.655 inches after I pulled it out of the gel. That's just over 2x bullet expansion. Once again, that's great, exactly what I like to see. Now this bullet looks beautiful. It looks like it could almost be in a Hornady advertisement too. Literally picture perfect performance. So let's take everything all together and do a recap of this ammo. First, we have a pretty short neck once it hits the gel. That's great. That's exactly what you like to see, where the bullet doesn't take too long to start expanding and making a temporary wound cavity after it impacts the animal. Next, we have a substantial temporary wound cavity that is both wide and long. Once again, that's what we like to see. And the fact that this ammo performed like that in ballistic gel, even at the sedate velocities of the 3030 Winchester, shows that Hornady put some real thought into designing this bullet and optimizing it for the 3030. It's one thing to do that at 30-06 velocities or something along those lines. It's a little bit more challenging to do it with a slower cartridge like the 3030, but they did a good job with that. Now next, we have 22.5 inches of penetration in gel. That is also really good, especially for hunting deer-sized game. And then, like I just mentioned, we have over 2x bullet expansion and over 90% weight retention. Both excellent. And my velocity was just a tiny bit less than advertised. And in the grand scheme of things, 29 foot per second of muzzle velocity won't make hardly any difference at all afield. And remember that muzzle velocity I got was with a 22-inch barrel too. So yours might be a little bit slower if you're using, say, a 30-30 rifle with a 20-inch barrel, but this is still really good, and it's still really close to, one, what Hornady advertises, and two, it's still fast enough for this stuff to work really well at the distances that you'd be reasonably hunting with a 30-30 anyway. All things considered, there's nothing I do not like about how this ammo performed in gel. Your mileage may vary, but I'm very pleased with the performance of this ammo out of my rifle in this gel test. Now, I think the 30-30 is a wonderful deer cartridge, especially for those who live and hunt in areas where longer range shots are uncommon. Well, this Hornady LEVERevolution 30-30 ammo is an outstanding choice for those hunters, especially with this 160 grain FTX bullet. I would not hesitate at all to use this stuff on a deer, a feral hog, or even something like a black bear, say on a baited hunt or something, where your shooting distances are close. I'd say 200 yards as a maximum range for this ammo, but with a little bit closer being better. Now, where I do all my deer hunting out here in East Texas, just due to the nature of the terrain and how thickly wooded this area is, I'm very rarely going to be shooting past even 100 yards. The 30-30 is a great choice. This ammo is a great choice in the 30-30 for those situations. Based on the performance of this ammo in gel, you should get more than enough penetration to reach the vitals of the animal from most reasonable shot angles. There's also a good chance the bullet will exit too, especially on something like a broadside shot or something close to broadside. And that large and long temporary wound cavity will cause horrific damage to the vital organs of an animal when it reaches them. That is exactly what we all want for fast, clean, ethical kills. All in all, I think the 30-30 is a great example of a cartridge that is enough in all the right areas for use on deer-sized game under appropriate conditions without being too much in categories that we don't like having a lot of performance in, like recoil or muzzle blast. I think this Hornady LEVERevolution ammo does a great job of maximizing the performance of this great cartridge within its ideal use cases. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want more content along these lines, visit huntingguns101.com. You can sign up there and you'll get a free ebook I have written on the best hunting calibers. I also cover this stuff in even more detail in my premium Hunting Guns 101 training. Link is also in the video description. That training also contains a thorough overview of external and terminal ballistics, so you will learn how bullets actually kill animals, as well as some specific examples of rifles and scopes ideally suited to a variety of hunting situations. You'll also discover the various factors that affect bullet penetration and expansion, and you'll learn a couple different methods of choosing the ideal cartridge bullet combination for a hunt that will deliver ideal terminal performance on whatever game you are hunting. Subscribers to my premium Hunting Guns 101 training will also receive access to my extensive and growing library of ballistic gel test results, most of which are not on YouTube. In addition to the 30-30 Winchester, that library has gel test results for multiple different popular hunting loads for cartridges like the 223 Remington, 6.5 Grendel, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, 270 Winchester, 7mm Rim Mag, 7mm PRC, 300 Blackout, 308 Winchester, 30-06 Springfield, and 300 Win Mag, among others. Once again, this list is always growing. I have also done ballistic gel tests with actual deer and elk shoulder blades embedded in the gel to give you an idea of how impacting bone affects the performance of different bullets as well. And those gel test results demonstrate the wide spectrum of results you can expect from different cartridges and bullets that you can use to tailor your hunting load to the specific situation. Once again, more details on all of that are available at the link in the video description. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and good hunting.